Hello, my name is Riley, the NBF, and this is my rest journey.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Big Wavy Boy Johnson here.
This is the professional Nathan Cruz.
Yo, this is Man Like Doris.
Hi, this is Tom Thurber.
This is Benji.
This is the Asian sensation Kanji.
This is the Nightmare Fuel Hustle Malone.
This is Joe Rage, the Heavyweight Classic.
This is Mad Dog O'Doherty.
This is Tonga.
I'm the Breaker, Carl Kingsley.
This is the infamous Cameron Solis, and you're listening
to
Broken but Glorious.
Broken but Glorious.
To Broken but Glorious podcast, because like me, you are head to toe a pro.
Hello and welcome to my Britwres journey on bbgwrestling.com. I'm Chris Lappin and delighted to be joined online by one half of Sass Central, the Rainbow Killer, Riley, the NBF. How do you see them, Riley?
Hello, I'm alright. I had a bit ill today, but I've got myself a cuppa. I'm alright.
Yeah. Yeah, my girlfriend's just started a new job in nursery with loads of 2-year-olds, so I think we've been swapping the same cold all year.
That happened all the time when I was living with my sister, because she has a little one, and I was getting colds all the time.
Yeah. So, when my 6-year-old goes back to school, the first 2 weeks after he goes back to school, I'm ill. It's horrible.
Terrible.
So how's 2022 been treating you in the ring so far?
In the ring, absolutely incredible. I mean, I think I see the same people wrestling every single weekend, but for me, the less I wrestle, the more I get out of it, I think. I would like to wrestle more, but it's just finding the time and finding, because, outside of wrestling, Riley has an actual working human life.
Yes.
so when I try to add my wrestling life into it, sometimes my personal life sort of conflicts with it.
Yeah.
But how much I'm wrestling now is more than acceptable, but I would like to wrestle more. So it's working out perfectly, especially with Sass Central.
Yes, great too. Clarence is so fun.
Clarence is amazing. He's literally one of my best friends. One of the only people in wrestling who I could actually call a friend. Not that I wouldn't call any other people in wrestling a friend, but obviously we're a tag team. Ride or die.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's so fun. He's so different to when I first saw him as Hammer. I can't remember what his name was.
Sledgehammer Bear.
Sledgehammer Bear. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't talk about that era.
So it was it's the first time when I first got into UVW, we just watched all the Floor is Lava matches. So one year he's Sledgehammer, next year he's Sassy
It's definitely a transformation to say the least.
Yeah, so following lockdown, did you want to make any tweaks to your character or your moveset once you returned?
So pre-COVID, I was very different to what I am now. I was a lot greener back then. I was a lot younger, smaller, skinnier. I had a very, I wouldn't say basic moveset, but there was never really any development from what I was doing. I would try new things if I was working with new people, or if I was working on a show, if I was working with one of my coaches, I'd let them take the reins because, I'd feel safer that way. These days, I kind of have more say in what I do. I'm an adult now, but, I'm older, wiser, bigger. I'm not a skinny little 15-year-old anymore. I'm now this, somewhat built, 19-year-old. So I would like to say that there's definitely been a lot of changes, especially what I wear. I used to just wear black leggings and kick pads and knee pads, and that's it. But now I actually have a signature look. I have, gear that's one leg is short and one leg is tights. And then I wear compression sleeves. So there's definitely a signature look to what I wear now. And my moveset, I like to think it's very driven by my creative side, let's call it.
Yeah.
I'm very, I like to be very extra. I like to be sassy. I like to take the piss. I like to be funny. I don't know. Wrestling isn't a serious thing to me. It's a fun thing for me.
Yeah, it's when it's best though. When it's fun.
Absolutely. I will have I would love to have matches where I'm now we've got to treat this like it's an actual fight. But other times I just like to have fun. I get more out of it that way.
So why did the name change come about then? Because it was Riley Andrews until very recently.
Yeah, so, you know, I've gone through, you know, 2 identity changes really. Like, you know, there's me coming out as someone who likes the same gender, and then me realizing I don't really identify that gender that myself.
Yes.
And the name Riley Andrews, it just didn't feel right, because at first I was going to change Riley to something more gender neutral, but then I realized Riley is gender neutral. It was the Andrews that wasn't. And I couldn't really find a gender neutral last name, so I decided not to go with the last name at all. So Riley the NBF was born, created.
Yes.
And I'm hopeful to debut it soon.
Brilliant. And for the listeners, what does NBF stand for?
Non-binary finery. So if anyone listening, if nobody knows what non-binary means listening, it means I go by they, them pronouns. So I neither identify as male or female. I'm just in the middle. I am just myself. I am me.
Yes. Brilliant. What's a finery?
So I don't know. I just kind of like.
Just rhymed.
Really. Yeah, it just rhymed. And you know what? When I called myself that, people responded to it. Like especially people backstage. But you know, I think it definitely sticks with me. It speaks to me. Whereas like the Rainbow Killer still speaks to me, but the non-binary finally kind of like sticks to me more.
Oh my lovelies! This is the Sassy BearClarence, and you're listening to Broken But Glorious Wrestling Podcast.
So this will give away your age. So who was your favourite wrestler growing up?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I mean, I don't know why, but I am insanely like interested by Dakota Kai.
Yes, he's brilliant.
I love Dakota Kai. I think it's just because like her style is very similar to mine. Like we're very kick based, you know. Pete Dunne. I really like his technical, you know, very dirty technical style. It's something that I don't get to see all the time. And then I think all-time favourite as a child, it's got to be Rey Mysterio for someone my age. It's got to be, because I was a gymnast before I was a wrestler.
Yeah.
So seeing him doing all these acrobatic, high-flying things, it was so new to me, because obviously I've been part of wrestling like mainly all my life. My dad was part of a wrestling promotion since I was a little kid, so I've always been around wrestling, but I never really got involved with it until about 9-10 years old.
Yeah.
But I would always go to shows beforehand, and I would never see wrestlers who could do the things that Rey Mysterio could do. Sorry. So yeah, Rey Mysterio definitely stuck out to me in my younger years. But obviously, in these days, it's obvious people in NXT or on the Indies. Like right now, Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Yes, he's fun.
I cannot get enough of him. I honestly cannot. He is so smooth and he is so fresh. And especially after him getting released and him doing what he's doing now with like Defy. He was at Progress a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
He was at a show in Ireland. I think he was at a show in Ireland just recently.
I think he did OTC.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Yeah. He was in a match with Robbie X and a few other people I can't remember the names of. But I watched that match and oh my god, it was incredible. Like I just cannot get enough of Swerve Scott. So those people are definitely people I watch the most.
Yeah, his match on Rampage last week with Tony Nese was a lot of absolute fun.
It was great.
Yeah, it really put Tony Nese over. I know Tony Nese is good, but he's missing something. I think Tony Nese can just find this unique selling point. I think he'll be on his next level as well. So he's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely enjoyed it. A lot of people didn't, but I enjoyed his cruiserweight title reign. Like it was just a nice, simple reign that didn't have to have every twist and turn in the book possible, which is something you see all the time these days, and I've had enough of that. But his was just a nice, simple reign, and it ended not in the best way, but it ended all right.
With Rey Mysterio, he's everybody loves him. Just like so, my 16-year-old his favourite wrestler growing up was Rey Mysterio. My 6-year-old still loves Rey Mysterio.
I think it's because like he's been everywhere and has done everything, like from his early days in Mexico to WCW all the way through WWE, his indie, and then back to WWE. He's just someone who's been there and done that, and at his age can still go and do the things that he does.
Yeah,
I think that's why everyone loves him.
What prompted you to don the tights and get in the ring yourself?
I don't know. I think it was wrestling's something that is a nice midway point between two things that I really love, and that's sport and theatre.
Yeah,
I'm a theatre kid at heart. I'm at a theatre school, so wrestling is just like that nice midway point between sport and drama, and that's something. Those are two things I really love, and for those things to come together to make one big massive thing, it's just something that I never experienced like to its full potential until I actually went to a wrestling show, sat down and watched it with my parents. So I think it was a singles match between my two coaches who would be coaches later on that year. And I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, I want to give this a try. So I had my first training session when I was 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I'm 19 now, so almost 10 years in the game. So I had my first training session, and even though it was just learning how to bump and roll and lock up, it was just something incredible. Like, I can't get enough of this.
Yeah.
Like, wrestling is like a drug, and I am heavily addicted to it.
So was Rey Mysterio who you wanted to mould your style around when you start training then? Or?
Obviously, because I was smaller and I had a gymnastics background, everyone who was training me had me do a lot of high-flying stuff. So I would watch a lot of cruiserweights. I would watch a lot of Rey Mysterio. And then, obviously, my dad, because he's an old wrestling fan, he'd had me watch the old WCW cruiserweights. The people like Dean Malenko, Chris Jericho, Psychosis. He had me watch Taka Michinoku. Because I use the Taka Michinoku driver, because that is literally my favorite. That's my favorite move ever.
Underrated wrestler in WWE.
Absolutely.
WWF.
So I would definitely use a lot of nuances from the WCW cruiserweights. But then as I got older, I started to mold my own style, which was more kick and strike and technical based, because I work with one of my trainers is very tech based, and I would lean towards his classes than I would others. Even though I do love the other ones, but I would like to learn more technical.
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, these days I kind of just do what I want now.
That's a great contrast with Sassy, who's such a power wrestler, to have a kick-based technical wrestler as a tag team wrestler.
I think that's what makes us such a different style of tag teams, because you always see a tag team that are two wrestlers that are the same. Whereas me and Sassy Bear, he is the big powerhouse and I'm the small, fast, agile one. So it's really helped us create different combos and go down different avenues of tag team wrestling.
Did you have an idea of a character you wanted to be not maybe when you were 10, but when you got to the 15, when you've made your...
I don't know. When I was younger and I was getting on festival shows and pre-shows, I was just the kind of happy-go-lucky kid who would just put other people over. Once I reached about 16, 17, that's when I started delving into that the cocky teenager who ran their mouth and again got kicked in the face for it and put other people over. Yeah. It was really during lockdown where I was kind of like, okay, I kind of really want to just really step into who I am and when we do come back to wrestling, let people see, the real Riley.
Yeah,
so that's when I started wearing, the black and rainbow gear. I started wearing, putting on rainbow face paint, or letting people see my goofy, sassy, little, gullible, laughy side. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. So take us back to your first shows, your first proper match. So what do you remember out in hindsight? Did you enjoy it, and was it good? Or?
So in the promotion that I was working for, that I was training under, so we had a group of us younger talent, we were deemed the junior division, if you will.
Yeah.
So we would be in like, you know, trainee and veteran versus trainee versus veteran tag matches.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'd have like a spot or two and whatnot. They were just like simple, fun little tag matches. So I was in one of them. I can't remember who with, but oh, dude, I was so nervous. I had like just like, you know, a generic piece of like, you know, black bikers with knee pads and kick pads. I used a different name back then. I don't know what name I was using. And to be honest, I've probably tried to forget it because it was that bad. But it was a nice little fun match. It was in my hometown, which was fun.
Yeah.
You know, having your first match in your hometown is always a good, nice feeling. You know, my parents were there, my dad was there. But yeah, it was a nice little fun match, but that was when I was like 14. I never really had an actual proper decent run until I was about 15, stepping into 16.
So as we said, you're one half of the Sass Central. So tell us a bit about the history of the team. How did you meet Clarence?
Obviously, you know, when there's two wrestlers like me and him, which in my younger, I never really knew any wrestlers who were like me. No. So to see people who were like me, like people like Visage, Brad Slayer, you know, Jason Joshua, and of course Clarence. And out of everyone, Clarence stood out to me the most, purely because of, you know, the pink gear, the mullet. Oh my god, I cannot, like, everyone, like,
it's amazing.
Clarence would not be Clarence without that mullet. The day he gets rid of it is the day wrestling dies for me. The day he gets rid of that mullet is the day wrestling dies for me, and I hope he never gets rid of it. But, yeah, and it was when Pride Pro had been announced, and they were looking for tag teams, because there's not a lot of tag teams like me and Clarence. The only other team that I know of, well, at the time, the only tag team that we knew of was Priscilla and Mitchell Starr, who rarely tag these days, but they're still a team. So we were just kind of like, right, we live an hour away from each other. There's a training facility where we could go to on the reg, and we just decided that, okay, let's give this a shot. Let's give this a go. So the first few training sessions we had, it was just getting rid of the ring rust for me. Yeah. Because at that point I had not been in the ring in almost a year. So, got rid of the ring rust, and Clarence got in touch with Paul Ash, who was the promoter for UBW. And during his 25 years, he's been a tag wrestler. Yeah. As the new breed. So getting the opportunity to work with someone who's, you know, been there, done that in tag team wrestling, we got a really good session in, and we got a lot of good pointers, you know, handed us one of his tag moves. So he gave us a really good session, not just like in the ring, but like the business side of it as well as a tag team. So to be able to have that mentoring from someone like Paul Ash, who before meeting him, you would hear stories of, and you'd see, you know, his matches on YouTube. So to get to meet him in person and to learn from him is a really good experience for my career. And getting to work with him at the training facility gave me and Clarence the opportunity to wrestle in his tag division, which is, and his roster as a whole, tag team division aside, is a lovely group of guys and girls who work really hard and are all unique in their own way. So to work with UBW alongside Sass Central, to be trained under Paul Ash, is just a fulfilling experience. Yeah,
I haven't spoken to Paul yet, but I do really love his podcast. He comes across really well at that podcast. And anybody I've interviewed from like UBW, I've said what a great guy he is.
He's so funny as well. He, like, as a promoter, he's great. As a person, he is incredible. Like, he is such a good friend. He's looked out for me, like, at a really bad time, and I was like, look, I don't want to really wrestle for a bit. I do want to be around, but I don't want to wrestle. He was like, dude, that is totally fine. Take all the time you need, and when you're ready, come back. So so as a person and as a promoter, he is top notch.
I Are you hoping? Sorry. So, what have been some of your favourite matches as a team, and who are you hoping to face in the near future? Is there any feud you want to go into?
My favourite tag team match up until now is probably our most recent one. It was for UBW against their tag team champions, the Heavyweight Heartbreakers,
Yes.
for their tag titles. It was such a good match.
Was it early this month, wasn't it? I think.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Well, not earlier this month. Early last. Last month. It was such a fun match. Like, I had such a good time. You know, working with the Heartbreakers a second time. The first time was great, but obviously the second time topped the first one by a long stretch. Everything went the way it should have. The crowd was hot. I had some of my friends there to watch me. It was great. I had like a really good time. And, you know, to be able to get the hot tag and come in, you know, guns a-blazing, it was great. I loved every single moment of it. Who we would like to face in the future? I mean, for me, I would love to face Lycos Jim.
Yes. Lycos 2 is my 6-year-old's favourite British wrestler.
Yes. Lycos, I love watching Lycos Jim because they're so good. Sunshine Machine.
Oh, they're lots. I can see that being a fun match.
Yeah, that'd be so much fun. Purely because I think me and Chuck Mambo would have really good chemistry because we're both very, you know, smiley and, you know, goofy. So I think that'd be a good pairing in a little, you know, little one-on-one off.
Yeah, I'm sure he's worked at UBW in the past. I'm sure he was in one of the Lavas.
Yeah, he was. They had a tag team match at Flora's Lava earlier this year. And it should have been us that answered that open challenge, but, you know, Thunder Express answered it first. But, you know, we faced Thunder Express before, and they're incredible as well. Who else would I like to work? As a singles, I've worked Joe Lando in the past, but only in tag matches.
Yeah.
We've never had a solid one-on-one match, and that is something I would love to have this year.
That'd be a fun match.
Joe Lando's great. We talked a lot through lockdown because we knew each other from our old promotion. So to have that one-on-one match now, both going through our evolutions, it'd just be a nice full circle thing to happen for me.
Yeah, he seems to be somebody who's lockdown seems to do great for, because before lockdown he just seemed to be this big flippy guy, but he seems to have found a character and just, I don't know, he's changed something, but I can't tell you what it is, but it's whatever he's changed. He's been brilliant. Yeah.
That is exactly how I see it. There is something, because obviously I've wrestled him in the past and he had a really, you know, obvious wrestling style, but now it's something that I just can't put my finger on it, and I don't think anyone else can either.
No. Something must have happened during that. Something clicked in his head during lockdown, and just
someone else who I would love to face. Someone who I have had a lovely little social media back and forth with over the last year. Someone who I've met in the past. Someone who I've watched wrestle quite recently, but never really got to have a match with them. That's Amber Joe.
Oh, yes.
As a person, so, you know, Josh would say, "Oh, I love Amber." Riley would say, "I want to kick her head off."
Yes.
I would love to kick her head off, and vice versa. You know.
Yeah, I interviewed her last August. Yeah, last summer I interviewed her. Yeah, and she's come a long way since. So.
Oh, she's such a lovely like, she's, you know, I've seen her backstage at a show, and she's a nervous wreck. But once she steps out into that ring, it's like a whole different person. It's like it's definitely a quantum leap moment where she just becomes in the character.
Yeah.
it's just such a lovely thing to see. And especially her being so new to the game, like from like just last year up until now, and getting the opportunity she's been getting, it's incredible to see. And I would love to see where she goes from here.
Definitely. Yeah, she's great. Yeah, she's won a couple of titles, and yeah, she's saying she's going to retire at the end of next year. So what? You've only just started. Why are you going to retire at the end of next year?
Oh yeah, she will be taking some time off next year because obviously I think it has something to do with her transition. So obviously she'll need to take some time off for that. But hopefully after that she gets to come back because I would love to see that happen.
So during lockdown we did have the speaking out movement, and I don't really want to go into specifics about speaking out movie, but how have you found the dressing rooms and Britwres since you've come back? Have you noticed there's a bit of noticeable difference?
To be honest, I wouldn't know, purely because pre-lockdown I was just with the one promotion, which is not a thing anymore because of said reasons. But I think from the locker room at my old promotion to like UBW and Win, it's such a more welcoming atmosphere.
Definitely.
Whereas like, you know, back at my old place, it was very cliquey. Like us trainees would just stick with each other because, you know, we were trainees, we were training with each other every week. And we were very comfortable around each other. Around two of my coaches, I was very comfortable around, but like people who were coming in or, you know, the veterans, so to speak, I just feel very uncomfortable around them because they spoke to me as if I was a trainee, not as a actual person. Whereas now I'm not treated like a trainee, I'm treated as like, you know, I'm on the card.
Yes.
You know, I'm there to wrestle. So it's definitely a nice feeling, especially with UBW, because everyone there is so funny, so loving, so hilarious. Like, Adonis Payne is my favourite person to talk to backstage at a show because he is so funny. He is such a lovely person. Someone else who I'd love to wrestle, actually, Adonis Payne is a lot like me. We're still new to this game. We're still very green, but you know, we know who we are.
Yes. So
to have that little clash between us two, I'd love to see that happen, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that'd be a fun match. It does paint somebody I want to see more. I've only seen him on YouTube, never seen him live yet.
Watching him in person, up close from ringside, is a lovely thing to see because his elbow drop from the top rope is something spectacular. I've only seen it live twice, and every time I pop for it. Hopefully I wouldn't be on the receiving end of it, but to watch it, like, just from the crowd is amazing.
Definitely. But if you kicked out of it, just imagine.
If I could, if he doesn't kick my ass that hard, then yeah.
Yeah, just with a pop you'll get if you kicked out of it, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Ladies, gentlemen, those in between, and those that don't identify as any gender, because we don't discriminate here. You are listening to The Notorious Angel on the BBG Wrestling Podcast.
So if you're a promoter for a day, promoting an event, so using wrestlers you've worked or trained with, wrestlers are associated to you in some way. If I give you a match type, you tell me who you want to put in that match. So.
Cool.
And as it's your card, every match can be intergender, every match can be 3-way, 4-way, 5-way. Add a silly stipulation if you want. Cool. So, who have been your opening contest? Get the crowd excited.
Oh, it would have to be Clarence versus myself.
Yeah, in the implosion.
Clarence versus myself in a
Sass
good old
Central implode.
Yeah. We've never got to work each other in a singles match, so I'd love to see what our sassy personalities could do against each other rather than with each other.
That could be fun. What about a comedy style match? So.
I think I'd have to have it as a feather boa on a pole match. Feather boa on a pole match.
Would that be yours and Clarence's match? Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be our match. It would have to be feather on a pole match, me and Clarence.
So there's two ways of doing the pole match. You either have to get it and then you've won by getting the feather boa, or you get the feather boa and then you can use it. Also.
Yeah. It's a pinfall match. You just have to get it off the pole and use it in how many ways you want.
Yes.
That would be my opening match.
Cool. About a comedy match?
A comedy match. Ooh.
So there's normally two ways to do it. So you either have two comedy wrestlers, or you have a straight man and a comedy wrestler.
So I think that's a tough one. A gimmick swap match between Charles Crowley and Clementine.
You just have a match. It's just tag teams implode on each other. So.
A gimmick swap match between Clementine and Charles Crowley. I'd love to see that.
That'd be fun. Crowley coming out doing Clarence Sands. She's hilarious. She's somebody I need to see live. I've only ever seen her on YouTube or on.
Oh, Clementine's great.
Yeah.
Especially backstage. She's so lovely. And Charles Crowley as well.
Yeah. I interviewed him, 3 years ago now, yeah. Just before his match with Sugar Duncanson.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I think I've seen that match.
Yeah. Your women's title match.
Okay. That's an easy one. Lucia Lee.
She's great.
Versus Lizzie Evo.
Yes.
I've seen that match once before. It was great the first time. I'd love to see it again.
Yeah. Yeah, they're two of my favourites.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd be the face and who'd be the heel? Or they just would both be heels for each other?
Lizzie Evo is obviously the heel. You can't. I think it's just like she has such that badass woman personality. You can't help but boo her.
No, definitely. Yeah, the first time I saw her live, she did face, and I was like, And then every other time she's Because I hadn't seen her have a fight a woman for the first 2 times I've seen her. She had intergender matches and she was battered 2 men.
But she's such a badass. Like, I'm genuinely afraid of her.
Okay, what about your mid-card title match? So your workhorse title?
Okay. Tommy Kyle.
Yes, he's fun.
And
he's put on some beef recently, as I say.
Tommy Kyle is a beast. He's got such a really apparent look to him. Like, as soon as you see his gear, his build, you know exactly who he is, and what he can do in the ring is insane. Like, I took a German suplex from him at the recent Floor is Lava, and he turned me inside out.
Yeah.
Which I need to get him back for, by the way. So definitely Tommy Kyle. Oh,
I'm waiting for you to say Roswell now, because they used to have another tag team.
Roswell's great as well, especially backstage. He is so silly. He's so funny. But no, not Roswell. Lando. Tommy Kyle and Lando.
Oh, that'd be interesting. It's a nice clash of styles as well. A hardcore Extreme Rules style match. So.
Okay. I think his name's Big F and Joe.
Big F and Joe, yeah.
Big F and Joe, and Session Moth Medina.
Oh yes.
Because I think she did a deathmatch tournament.
I think she did. She's been at least. I don't know if she did. Yeah, she was in the TNT one.
Yeah, she was in a TNT deathmatch tournament. I watched some of the spots, and she is insane.
She's incredible.
So I'd love to see Big F and Joe and Session Moth go at it in a hardcore match.
Yeah. I don't get deathmatch wrestlers. I say it all the time on the podcast. I don't get it. Why would you want to get glass and pins in you for 40 or 50 quid, whatever you get? I just don't get it.
Personally, I wouldn't do it. But if it's happening, I'll watch it, and if it pops me, great.
Yeah, a lot of people are into saying, I want to have one death match, I just want to do it once, get out the way, never do it again. So
I've taken a kendo stick once, and that was enough for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I don't know, because I just have a fear of needles and being pierced through the force of glass going into me, or barbed wire going into me. Oh, God, no. Alright. Your tag team title match?
Cool. So the 8-7, which is Warren Banks and Big Wavy, and I'd love to see them go up against the 0121.
Yes. Oh, that'd be amazing match.
Man like Dave Reese and Dan Maloney.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see them go at it. Yeah, that'd be fun. Plus, I'd love Warren. Warren Banks is someone I definitely want to work with.
Yeah, he's the champion of my local promotion, Wrestle Island.
And Man like Dave Reese, I'd love to work with him. His entrance, oh my God.
It's so fun.
If I was against him, I don't think I'd be able to stop. I don't think I'd not be able to say 2-1 when he says 0-1. If I was opponent and he does the 0-1-2-1 thing, I wouldn't be able to stop myself because it's so catchy. But yeah, the 0-1-2-1 versus the 8-7.
He taught me out to about 80 quid last time I went to a show where he was on. Came home with two t-shirts and a hoodie. I have no
Wow.
Yeah, I was slightly drunk because I went to an adult only show.
Here's the thing though, getting pissed at an adult show, that's got to be funny.
Oh yeah, it was really, really fun. Yeah. So I usually go with the family, so yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to just let loose for one show.
Yeah, my girlfriend got me like a VIP ticket, so but I got out of town far too early, like 2 hours before the show started, so I was just sitting in Wetherspoons just like...
Yeah, cheap drinks though.
Yeah. Yeah, even Liverpool's only like £3 a pint. So.
Really? Wow, fucking hell.
Cool, that's your main event?
Right, okay, so this would be for my world title.
Yeah.
So, it would be a Fatal 4-Way Iron Man match.
Yes.
And I'd have to have who would I have to have in that?
Trying to think who you haven't picked.
I'd put Adonis in it.
Yeah.
Because I just love to see. I'd love to see how he would do in a 4-man 60-minute Iron Man. Brady Phillips, who used to train me years ago. I knew him as someone else back then. I will not.
He was at the TNT show on Sunday. And I was like, I know you for ages. Yeah. He was just watching from that. I was like, it took me ages to figure out who it was. Yeah.
So Adonis Payne, Brady Phillips, Truman,
yes,
and Evie Madden.
Ooh, yes.
And this is how I would book it. I'd have 2 of them tie at the end at 2 falls to have them at the next show face 1-on-1.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah. Let's go to some death.
Yeah.
That'd be good. That the Fatal 4-Way Iron Man match there at Catch Wrestling was really fun. It was just before lockdown, their first ever show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. So Joe Nelson won it. So yeah, that'd be a great card. I'd really like to watch.
I would I think even though the main event is like the match to watch, I would just love to see what me and Clarence could do with a feather boa on a pole match.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Just see you choking each other with a fake.
I'm going to see if I can make that happen somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm actually going. I'll have a little meeting with Paul.
Yeah, suggest it now and get it on WrestleMania next year. So.
Oh yeah, that'd be so fun.
So before we go, if you got any social media or merch stores you want to promote?
So my Twitter is Riley the NBF, and my Instagram is Rainbow Killer 02.
Cool. I'll put links in the description below the interview. So I've really enjoyed speaking today. I'd love to have you on again in the future. That was a lot of fun. Maybe have
absolutely.
a Sass Central, but if you're on at the same time, that'd be fun.
Oh yeah, we could definitely do that. That'd be so much fun.